Good morning, everybody. I'm Karen Domino, now the new chair of the Washington Medical Commission. And I'm calling the meeting to order. It says 8 o'clock on my computer. We will now begin the public comment program, part of the program. This purpose is to allow members of the public to directly address the Washington Medical Commission on issues of public concern. Please refrain from providing comments on pending or open investigations or disciplinary cases. We will not be answering questions or responding. Staff will be available after the meeting to answer your questions. Please understand that although the time period for comment during the business meeting is limited, the public can attend and provide comment at Washington Medical Commission meetings. The public can also contact staff during normal business hours. We also welcome written comments. Do we have any people signed up to speak?
There's none online. Don't have a sign-in sheet, so.
No, so, well, since there aren't any public members who wish to comment at this meeting, this concludes the public comment portion of the meeting. I want to thank you. And please, again, you may provide written comments at any time. And spend this time to honor Melanie. As you see, there's this fantastic celebration that's really head up here. And I just want to thank Melanie for all of her mentorship and leadership in the Washington Medical Commission. There are a number of things that I've seen over the 5 years I've been on the commission that I think, you know, the entire staff of the commission, led by Melanie, have really responded to a lot of our commissioners' thoughts. And the few of these I wanted to mention where there's just been a tremendous change. One thing is the licensure process and the time frame for achieving licenses for certain, you know, and this was an issue, especially at my university, where we have a lot of people who are trained from outside the U.S., often coming into fellowship positions, but they have staffing as often as regular attending in our especially our anesthesia and surgical areas. And it really was speeded up incredibly much. And I think there was Melanie's, so, you know, stimulation and thinking about things and working with staff to really change the process. And yeah, I thought that was fabulous. And it's been recognized, I think, in my university. Another thing I thought was really exceptional was the SMART training. As a woman, I've always worried, you know, about sexual abuse, the things that you hear around, and it was also very hard to think about. Do you really, who do you believe? Do you believe the doctor, or do you believe the victim, potential? Gave us tremendous insights into how it feels to be a victim, and why their memories are not, you know, a dot to dot to dot, right? They may have fleeting memories of things and they may not be able to recall a lot of things. And so that I thought was really important. The other thing I think was important as well was the response to the CMT. And particular, you know, so you get between you know, if there are cases and you're on CMT and it's not your area of specialization, you may not know much about that thing. And yes, you can go and look up things on the internet, but that's not the same as having that degree of specialization. And I think creating this ramp up process where the commissioner who's assigned the case often has specialty in that area, it is a fairer process and allows someone with more knowledge about the medical aspects of that case in order to make a decision about whether we should move on with an investigation or not. Another thing I think is important is having this physician support program that I've seen as well. Anyone in medicine has made errors. We all have. Many of us have had lawsuits. And we don't want to harm patients, but to err is human. And I think having that support, also communication skills are a lot of things, or record keeping or business aspects. These are things that we don't learn in our training very well. And so that support program, I think, helps. It's voluntary for the physician or PA to comply with it and think about it, but most professionals will go and they will try to learn from their adverse experience, from the adverse events to patients. And I think also in that same line is and that we will be continuing to look at physician health and recognizing that working in medicine takes a toll on all of us. It's been a special toll with COVID and the post-COVID aftermath of things. And I think with Melanie's leadership, all of these changes that I've seen over the 5 years that I've been on the commission have been exceptional. So I just want to congratulate Melanie for her well-deserved retirement and her legacy that she's left with Washington Medical Commission. All right, now we're on to the consent agenda. And that was, I'll just read it from this paper, it's easier. So these include minutes. They include the business minutes of approval of the May 26, 2023 business minutes, which are on page 12 to 17 of your agenda. And do we need to take each of those separately, or we can do them together? Yeah. I'm sorry.
We can do them together.
Okay, good. And to approve the agenda for today's business meeting agenda as well, which was on page 8 to 9. Anybody, could I have a motion to approve these? Hey, second?
Second.
Hey, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Great. Next, old business. Are there any committee or work group reports? No reports, seeing none. What about rulemaking activity? Amelia, can you comment about this?
Yes. So in your packet, there is a memo from me requesting that we initiate rulemaking we had a bill that passed about military spouse employment, and we already have a couple of WACs in place, one each for the physicians and the physician assistants. And we just want to initiate rulemaking to make those two WACs align more with this new bill. And then I just wanted to add it, put it in my ask because it's not related to rulemaking, but I just wanted to let you know that part of that bill requires training for you. So we are working on getting that. I think the VA is going to create the training, and so we're working on getting that information and getting that sent to you for you to take the training.
Amelia, what training is that?
So it's related to military spouse employment. They want you to take training where you learn more about the barriers to employment and things like that. So, and that's part of that bill, and it's a requirement in the bill. So, but you'll get more information about the training at a later date when we have more information. But today my ask is just to initiate rulemaking, just a regular rulemaking to make our WACs align more with the new bill that came out.
And we need to take a vote on that?
Correct.
Yes. Okay, any discussion of that among the commissioners? Can I have a motion to initiate rulemaking? I don't, you have a second over there. And so all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Yeah. Right, right, yes.
Morning. The policy committee, as we know, now meets virtually, which is nice, I think, for everybody. We had a nice turnout. Our documents begin on page 21 of your packet. I hope you've had a chance to take a look at these. I'm also going to have Mike give some updates, but the first guidance document in your packet. We had quite a bit of conversation over this one at our meeting, and I asked if there are any questions, comments, concerns about this document. Out.
Oh, here.
Can you still hear me if I?
Just project.
Am I projecting out there, everybody? So the, as I mentioned, that policy that, is here for your, the guidance document is here for your review. And, I will ask you to approve as is if there are no comments or questions. Mike, do you want to go ahead with any additional?
Yeah, so this is a complete revamp of the existing guideline on social media, which we adopted in 2014. We've had a few cases since then, and the world has changed, so this is a substantial revision. We had an interested parties meeting. I don't believe any members of the public attended that. Then we had a policy committee meeting last Wednesday, so we're implementing this new process. And I got some feedback. I got some very specific feedback from a plastic surgeon who suggested, I had very specific suggestions about advertising, and the committee decided advertising is a little bit outside of this, of the scope of this policy, so we're not addressing the advertising, except to have a general, not misrepresent yourself in social media or electronic communications. He did have a good suggestion about not offering patients incentives to post negative or positive reviews, which wasn't addressed in this. So now it's addressed. I have one addition. If you could look at number 11, recommendation number 11, which is at the top of page 3. It says, do not pressure patients into permitting their images to appear on websites or social media. Do not offer incentives to patients to permit the use of their images on websites or social media. What I want to add is, or to post positive or negative reviews. Remember that there's a power differential between a practitioner and a patient. That last sentence is already in there. But I want to make clear that you should be offering incentives to patients to post a positive review or to delete a negative review. The other issue he brought up, which is a very interesting issue that we had an extended discussion on, was if a patient posts a positive review and admits that they are a patient of the doctor or PA, then that should allow the doctor to then acknowledge that they're treating that patient, but that's somehow a waiver. That's only fair, especially if they post a negative review. And that's not what the law provides. So a doctor or any healthcare provider cannot post personal health information about a patient, even if the patient discloses that same information. You just can't do it. So that gets very tricky. He thought that wasn't fair, but there is some guidance on that, especially for plastic surgeons. And that's in a reference document, a couple of them that we have. So these are fairly general principles. There's a couple specific principles. It's a difficult area, but I welcome any feedback on it.
It's unfortunate that the media has gotten to the point that we have to put things into specific writing. No going once. Dr. Murphy.
Yeah, I think it's really important to add that addendum, that little piece to point 11. You know, just even though a guideline is meant to be general, I mean, that is something that people should know and should protect patients. The only other thing I would point out is you have 6 pages and it says of 4, so it needs to be renumbered. But thank you for an important document.
Yeah, I appreciated, Mike and, the committee, all the work to put this important policy, together, examining public experiences. As I told you, like, I'm still having this little concerns about, responding to social media, patients' reviews, either positive or negative. To me, it can be a slippery slope, as I said, that you can cross the professional boundary, even in a positive. So my thought was stay clear from any responding on the social media with the patients, regardless. That way you totally, stay away from private conversation. You should always through proper channel with the owner of whatever, so the social media's owner, to properly say how I respond, rather than just spontaneously. I like positive review, I'm gonna respond, if I don't like it, then we said don't, so maybe they don't, some of us may. So anyway, that's just my thought, is stay clear regardless positive, negative.
Yeah, and thank you for bringing that up. The document, as written, says that you can't respond unless you get specific written consent of the patient. Maybe that's too legalistic. I'm not sure when you would get specific written consent from the patient to respond to a review. Certainly, someone posting a negative review would not consent to that. And I don't think it's a good idea when a patient walks into your office to have them sign something saying, you agree that I can respond to your reviews. So the timing is kind of odd. So I think that's not a bad suggestion, that we would recommend that you don't even respond at all, and not even mention the fact that you can respond if you get written consent.
As I said, some patients will be odd enough, you just never know. You may say, sure, they post their negative review. They may say, sure, respond. I'm gonna argue with you. I'm gonna tell the truth to the public. So respond. So then you get this endless argument probably. Nobody can verify anything on the social media. Can only damage both sides, patients and professionals. So that's why the consent can be tricky too from patient. That's just my thought.
Thank you. Are there any other comments, questions?
I was just gonna say very quickly that if the information is false and a bad review, there is the opportunity to respond to the lawsuit.
People through the needs.
Anyone else?
We have a situation, patient, the physician took this into their own hand rather than through the legal proper channel. They start to really go back and forth on the phone. And that's really, no on that. So somebody gonna do that, so better policy out there. So I think this is great policy.
Mr. Lopez?
Yeah, I'd like to speak in support of this document. As we all know, we now are living our lives in the world of social media. I think that goes without saying. And unfortunately, what is said lives in perpetuity in these documents online. And I think that it's important for physicians and providers of all stripes to be able to be aware of what is said, was received, and I think that the work that Mr. Farrell and his team have done to put this together is exceptional, and I think that we should endorse and support this.
Thank you, Mr. Lopez. Any other questions, comments? And I will call for approval of this document. All in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you.
Excuse me. So leave it as it is, not take out the language about acceptable certification.
Leave as is, it's my understanding. Leave as, is everyone agreed with leave the document as is?
Renumber the pages.
Yeah, besides the page
Just
numbering. Thank you. Next document we looked at was the panel consent agenda procedure, which you'll see on page 27. Does anyone have any comments, questions? Mike, did you
I have
have
a
a
change I'd like to make.
Okay,
That the document referred, and by the way, this is just a normal 4-year review of an existing procedure that I think is working very well. It talks about closure codes, and we don't have closure codes anymore. I'd like to change the word codes to category.
any objections to that? Any other comments with regard to this procedure? Then I'll call for approval. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Or abstentions? Thank you. Approved as presented with your change, Mr. Farrell. Our next document is approving entities to credential pain management specialists, another procedure. Are there any comments, questions? Mike, do you have any?
This is another 4-year review of an existing procedure. This procedure's never been implemented. No, it's never been an entity that's applied for, asked for your approval to credential pain management specialists. So I don't have any changes. I realized when I looked at the document that I had summarized the WAC, and what I want to do is put in the actual language of the WAC, the rule that that's an issue here. That's the only change I think.
Add the language.
Yes, and Scott, you had brought up an issue about some awkward language there. That awkward language is in the rule, so I can't change it. I wish you were on the committee to develop the rule.
Any other comments or changes, requests before we? May I ask for approval of this document then for the change with the addition as Mr. Farrell noted. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? Approved as noted with Mr. Farrell's addition. That's all I have. Thank you very much.
All right, we're gonna move on now to the member reports. Do any commissioners have a report of anything they want to say today? See anyone who wants to say anything? So we'll move on to the steps. What do you?
Okay, I actually just
See you.
no, that's okay. I'm standing right next to you. Sorry. I just I read through the Helms report and I think it's great that that database is being undertaken. I think that's going to be, and it looks like a lot of work was done on that, Micah. So if you want to just chat about that a little bit, Amelia is chuckling over there.
We're all happy.
Oh, okay. So it looks like it's a good move forward.
I will be as diplomatic as I can. It's been long gestated because it's 7 years. And just, I think, what was it, a week ago, released one went into that. We finally got to see something after $1.3 million commission alone. Contributing to this project. It's, we've had a lot of difficulty with system integrators. We've had a lot of platforms. And we're still not done. We're probably going to see another extension in the time that it will get us complete, and we are guaranteed another budget increase. So I would say that there is progress, but I'm not sure if you asked any of the staff are happy about it.
Oh, okay. All right, well, I just noted that in there and I wanted to these comments, so thank you.
I mean, at this point, the licensing part does appear to be done.
Good.
Congratulations on that. Discipline part, which I think is going to be a bit more tricky.
Thanks.
All right, we'll move on to staff reports. We kind of started it already. Mike, I do have one question for you, though. I noticed last time that there was a 30-day, you had to return in your expenses 30 days from the time of your stay or your travel. And I've always thought it was a longer period of time. As myself, I usually try to do it per month. So if there's a meeting, say early in the month, and I get it to you by the 10th of the next month, it's been more than 30 days from the time I might have stayed in a hotel. And it impacts especially our commissioners who have to fly and rent cars and then have long distances to drive.
So this is a request from DOH as they control the travel database. And you don't know. Right, just jump in. Sure. So they have a couple of policies. The first is they want you to suspend the travel within 30 days of occurring. And then if anything's over than 90 days, then the reimbursement, which leads me to my update. So there was a technical problem with the routing system for, as you know, Fatima prepares your travel, and they DOH control the routing in the TIM system. For her, that some of you were not routed correctly, and so when she prepared the reports timely, you submitted them timely, they just kind of got lost in the system and they didn't go anywhere. So this was discovered when we had a couple of commissioners contact Fatima and ask where the reimbursements were. She met multiple times with DOH to sort it out, and we thought that it had been sorted out. And we believe it has because those are moving forward, but at that point, they were outside of the 90-day window. In some cases, they were in the last fiscal year. So DOH denied those. And as of yesterday, I escalated to a couple levels over the person that does those approvals, and it's for appeal for obvious reasons, because we all broke it, we all didn't fix it, so you did on this. So I'll update the group once I get more clarity on it.
Thanks for all your efforts in trying to get us reimbursed for our travel. Are there any other staff reports? Oh, sorry.
So when I alerted you to this, Micah, and I said I was only now being paid for March, there was an audit and I still haven't been paid for January. So thank you for doing that appeal, since it's not anything to do with, you know, our efforts. And I hope there's like a fail-safe to be alerted to that, you know, in the future, so it doesn't happen again.
In this case, from Fatima's standpoint, it looked like she submitted it and it was fine.
Yeah.
But again, she met with DOH multiple times trying to address the issue. And they say it's fixed. And so it does appear to be that the routing mechanism is fixed, but now what is the approval to page?
Thank you.
Any other staff reports, Melanie?
So I don't have a staff report, but I do want to say thank you for all of your support and tolerance and innovative ideas and bugging me about everything and pushing us along over these past 9 years. The success of this commission is because of you, the commissioners. You have open minds, you are very innovative, but it's also because of the wonderful staff that is behind me. They push things through every day. I said I wasn't gonna cry, and it seems like I am, but they are a wonderful group. and they make a reality, or they say, no, that's not gonna work. And I hope that I have built that rapport with the staff and with you to say, no, that's not a good idea, or yes, let's move forward. So, we have tried many things over these past 9 years. Some of them really worked well, some of them not so much. But you never know how it's gonna work until you give it a go. So I just wanna thank you for your support. I've always felt that you had my back, and I wanted you to know that I've always had y'all's backs. Thank you.
Any other staff reports? Okay, well, seeing none, we move on to the Attorney General's report. Ms. Carter,
Nothing to report.
nothing to report today. Well, and that then thus we can adjourn the business meeting.
Thank you. This is a special meeting for the process to hire the executive. We'll treat this as such. Today is July 14th, 2023. The time is 8:46 a.m. Pacific time. We will now begin the portion of this meeting to take public comment. The purpose is to allow members of the public to directly address the commission on issues of public concern. Please refrain from providing comments on pending or open investigations or disciplinary cases. We will not be answering any questions or responding. Staff will be available after the meeting to answer your questions. Please understand that although the time period for the comment during the special meeting is limited, the public can attend or committee meetings. The public can also contact staff during normal business hours. We welcome written comments as well. Before you comment, please state your name and who you represent. Would anyone like to comment at this time?
There's no one online.
Dr. Bundy.
Morning, members of the commission, staff. I just wanted to take a moment as well during this time to recognize Melanie and say a couple of words that weren't already mentioned. One of the things, Melanie came on the commission about the same time I came to the PhD. So we've had this kind of wonderful parallel course, and I credit Melanie and her staff and her influence with the wonderful, mature relationship between your state physician health program and the medical commission that really, if you've been to a Federation of State Medical Boards meeting, I don't know if you realize that this relationship, as presented by Mike Farrell and myself at the most recent Federation of State Medical Boards meeting, is really the envy of a lot of medical boards and physician health programs around the country. And that tradition that preceded Melanie and I, but it was through our work together that we were able to continue and I think evolve that relationship even further, which I think strengthens your physician health program and your medical board. I think we both, over the commission, I think we both benefit. I would also want to acknowledge one more collaborative accomplishment that really is groundbreaking. In 2018, you all revised your licensure application questions and then revised them again so that it's now an advisory model, which again demonstrates remarkable leadership in this area nationally. And we were able to do that work together. And I think that that's been really important. We mentioned physician health and her emphasis and prioritization of physician health as part of her time here. And that's really a shining example of wonderful reform work that was done under her watch. So thank you. Thank you, Melanie.
Thank you. For the record, could you please state your name and who you represent?
Chris Bundy, Washington Physicians Health Program.
Thank you. Are there any other comments? Seeing none, this concludes the public comment portion of the special meeting. Again, you may provide written comments at any time. The commission will now meet in executive session, discuss the candidates for the executive director position as allowed by RCW 4230101G. The commission will be in executive session until 9:05 a.m. At this time, I'd like to ask everyone in the room to step outside. We will invite Heather Carter to stay for the executive session. Thank you. Julie, are we ready? All right, it's 9:49 a.m. and the special meeting is back to order. On the matter of the offering a position of executive director, I request a motion from the commission.
Move to accept the committee's nomination of the title committee.
We have a second.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please raise your hand and say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstention? The motion carries. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone, for your time. The special meeting is now adjourned.